Adam here from the Walzer Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is compare a couple of SUVs. Now on the one side we have the 2025 Nissan Murano, and on the other side I have the 25 Mazda CX-70. We'll look at the interiors, exteriors, some of the trim level specifics, and then see which one might just be perfect for you. Let's begin by looking at the 2025 Nissan Murano. Now this one here is the Platinum, so it's going to come in 3 different trim levels. Your SV is your base, which will be standard with front wheel drive but optional with all wheel drive, and then you're going to have your SL and your Platinum, which are going to come standard with all wheel drive. Now this is a full redesign for the 25 model here. The last update was 2025 with only kind of minor revisions since then, so this is a big upgrade and a great improvement for the Murano nameplate. Now what's really cool about this Murano, it comes with a 2-liter turbocharged engine. You're looking at about 241 horsepower and a little over 260 foot-pounds of torque, but they've gone away from the CVT and now it's a 9-speed automatic transmission. I know a lot of you in the comments aren't the biggest fan of the CVT, so having that 9-speed does make it very smooth and very comfortable out on the road. Now the white exterior on this Platinum does look very cool. Now you can also get sort of a two-tone look where it would kind of black out the top of the vehicle depending on which trim level you're looking at, but this does look amazing, especially when paired with the 21-inch wheels. It's kind of a black with a little bit of silver into it, but it gives it a very unique and distinct look and looks very upscale. Now a few other things with this particular Murano, you are going to have a power liftgate as well as 60/40 split rear seats in the back. So what that means, if you're not hauling people, you can pull these convenient little handles on the side. That will kick either one side down or the other, and it does give you quite a bit of hauling space. Now a few other things on the exterior of this one, it does get parking sensors all the way around paired with the 360 surround view camera, which makes backing up and parking a breeze. Now the Platinum will have a few different accented trims around the outside, whether it's the black lowers up front on the side or those kind of black mirror caps you'll see. It also does have a keyless entry on this vehicle. So you just click the little button on the side, you can hop in, push button start, plus this is also paired with a remote start on the 25 Murano, standard on the key fob. Now we do have to touch on fuel economy because combined you're looking at about 23 mpg with the all-wheel drive, and that does bump up a little bit if you go with the base model with the front-wheel drive, but for a vehicle of this size, that's going to be some pretty awesome fuel economy. Like I said, with the 9-speed and the 2-liter turbo, it's definitely got some get up and go. Now before we hop into the inside of this one, let's jump over to the Mazda CX-70. We'll check that one out. Now over to the 25 Mazda CX-70, this is one of Mazda's newest vehicles in the lineup. Now it may look very familiar because it is based off of obviously the CX-90. The biggest difference with the 70 and the 90, no third row in the 70, so that's why we're comparing it here today with the Murano. So both are going to offer seating for 5, but this one does get quite a bit of cargo space. Obviously it's still the same platform which would offer a third row, but that in turn now comes into underfloor storage. So you have a ton of room in the back, quite a bit more out of the CX-70. This one also is going to have that power liftgate back there, and it does have power seats, so you can click a little button for that second row instead of a handle. It will knock the seats down, 60/40 split, which makes hauling stuff pretty cool, and again, a lot of room in here. Now on the exterior of the CX-70, you can usually differentiate this one by having the black exterior trim from the CX-90. You'll notice up front it does have a little bit more of an aggressive look, and this one also gets the blacked out 21-inch wheels, which do look pretty incredible, especially paired with the Zircon Sand Metallic. This is one of my favorite configurations of the 70. Now there is going to be about 6 different trim levels, so it can get a little bit confusing, but the biggest differences would be if you're looking at this one, there's a 3.3-liter inline 6, or you can go up to the S, which is even going to give you more power. This particular one here isn't the S model, but this one is going to still have about 280 horsepower, and there's also a PHEV or plug-in hybrid version available of the 70. Now, fuel economy on this one, this is going to be an 8-speed automatic, but all Mazda SUVs, no matter which one you're looking at in the lineup, do come standard with all-wheel drive. This one is going to get a little bit better fuel economy at 25 mpg combined, and again, no front-wheel drive, but the all-wheel drive with the 3.3 and just a little bit less power out of the non-S models is a pretty good package for the CX-70s. Now this one, like I said, with the blacked out trim, whether it's the wheels, the door handles, the mirrors, or those roof rack rails up above, does give it a pretty cool look, and kind of that darker chrome that runs around the vehicle. This one also is going to get all the parking sensors and that 360 view backup camera. So this trim level is the 3.3 Turbo Premium Plus. Now, like I said, there's an S model, which gives you a little bit more power, but this one price-wise is going to be very similar to the Nissan Murano, but we'll touch on that more in a little bit. For now, let's jump back over to the Murano, check out the interior. All right, so now inside the Murano Platinum, there's a ton of really cool equipment here. This is such a big difference from the outgoing Murano, and it is going to be a lot of similarities between this and the Mazda CX-70. Now let's begin with the two 12.3-inch displays. What's really cool is you can control both of them from the right side of the steering wheel. But why do I have my phone with me? That's because you have wireless charging down here, as well as wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Not to mention Google Assistant is going to be built in here. You can also do Amazon Alexa if you're an Amazon user. That is a huge upgrade, which is really cool. Now on the infotainment screen, like I said, with the wireless CarPlay, text messaging, Google Maps, Spotify, it's all built right into there. And you've also got the Google Maps built in. There's so much cool stuff in the screen, and it's very responsive. It's very quick to use. It's very simple. And like I said, you can even click the right side of the steering wheel, kind of use the scroll wheel. It pops up a menu on the side. That is super cool. Now on the other side, on our digital gauge cluster here, that is going to give you all of your other pertinent information. You really can kind of keep track of everything in there, whether it's your trip computer stuff, some of your music, if you got Apple CarPlay going. You can even pull up the maps in here, which is really cool. I love how easy all of this is to use. Nissan's infotainment screen is a huge leap forward for the 25 Murano. Now another thing that's pretty cool, these are haptic touch buttons down here. So you can adjust the climate control from clicking, and you kind of feel it, but it's like ghosted into the wood sort of trim here. It's really cool. It does work very easily as well. Plus you've got a large volume knob up above and a track skip that you can use up there, which is pretty neat. Now the Platinum seats, I always say this, but Nissan has some of the best seats out right now. These are no different. They're extremely comfortable. These are heated, these are ventilated, and for the driver and the passenger now for 25, these are massaging seats. There's a little button you can click on the side over here that pulls up a massage menu that you can switch through. That is a cool feature. If you're planning on doing a road trip, had a stressful day, I love that it has that, especially paired with the Bose sound system in here. It is a comfortable, easy to use vehicle that really does make it a pretty big game changer. Now for our drive select here, like I said, going away from the CVT, they've also moved down to these buttons that you'll find in some of the other Nissan models. So reverse drive, you just click it with a foot on the brake. The backup camera, like I said, when you put it in reverse, pops up, shows the full look around the car. It is such a good screen. It looks great, easy to see, and it's crystal clear in there as well. Now one other thing you'll notice is kind of the cool trim that runs through. Kind of almost a color fade through this. This has the brown as well as the black that goes into the seats and the dash, and it all flows very nicely together. Plus this one also gets a heads-up display. Kind of hard to capture on camera, but that just gives you some of your pertinent information right out in your line of sight, which I really like. Now we have to touch on the ProPilot system. So this one has ProPilot built in, which is Nissan's safety suite. You can click the little blue button here, blind spot monitoring, forward collision, lane departure warning, and you can even go through and adjust some of that stuff. So if some of those settings aren't right for you, steering assist you don't want on, a click of the button, that goes away, which is really convenient and nice as well. Now, what about the second row? Like I said, those are obviously folding seats, but they do recline. Those are going to be heated for that second row. There's USB charging, or USB-C charging back there rather, and you also have vents, whether that's for the kids or for the dogs. There's lots of convenient features back here, and one of my favorite, the panoramic sunroof. It makes such a big difference when you get all that light in here, especially when it's a really nice night. You're cruising around with all the windows down and the sunroof open. I love that. It is really cool. So beyond that, memory, massaging, heated, ventilated seats, plus a heated steering wheel. Again, it heats up nice. Like I said, with the remote start on this vehicle, you can fire it up with the key fob. I think it runs for about 10 minutes, but everything is gonna be nice and warm or nice and cool when you hop in. Talking about the MSRP, this one comes in at $52,700. So just a little bit more maybe than the Mazda CX-70, but this is pretty much fully loaded. There's a ton of really cool equipment, a ton of stuff for the money in the new Murano. But let's hop over to the CX-70, see how that one stacks up. All right, inside the 3.3 Turbo Premium Plus CX-70, again, I've got my phone because it's gonna have wireless charging as well as wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now I'm gonna sound a little bit like a broken record here because a lot of the same equipment that's found in the Murano can also be found in this CX-70. Now while this isn't the top tier trim level, you'd be looking at the Turbo S model, this one still does get a lot of great equipment, and for the price point, again, very similar to that Murano. But there's two 12.3-inch displays. We're gonna have a full digital gauge cluster over here, and this one's just gonna have one little button that's gonna show you kind of your pertinent information, as well as your eye active sense, which is gonna be Mazda's safety technology. So not quite the same display as the Nissan, but still giving you a lot of good information over here. Another thing that's really cool, when you press the lane departure warning button or the adaptive cruise control, the gauges spin and flip, and then it shows you all of your adaptive cruise settings or that lane departure warning. So you can set that 4, 3, 2, 1 car length distance ahead of you, keeps that distance on the road with the blind spot monitoring, emergency braking. These Mazdas are going to have all of the same safety features found in the Nissans as well. Now the 12.3-inch infotainment screen here is going to be a touchscreen, but Mazda also provides you with their little controller down here. So I like that, because once you get it figured out, you can easily scroll through everything, switch between your music, and there's also a button on the steering wheel similar to the Murano. If you press and hold, you can use Siri on here. So if you're an iPhone user, having Siri in there is pretty cool. Now, the backup camera in this one, very similar. Again, both models do have a button that you can press down here that's going to pull up the camera pretty much at any time. Then you can use the controller to kind of sort through some of the modes. Both are very clear, easy to use. I think in either model, if you hit something, you'd almost have to be trying, just because of the beeps, the sensors, everything works, and the cameras are so good. I love those features in both these vehicles. Now, the seats in this one, while they're not the massaging seats, these are going to be heated as well as ventilated. Plus, we get this leather-wrapped heated steering wheel. So in the Mazda lineup, you can actually get a Nappa leather material. You can almost smell it when you get into the vehicle. It's a little bit different of a smell, but these seats are also extremely comfortable. The cooling works very well. It's already pretty hot this morning. It's about 85 degrees. So firing these up and being comfortable when you're just driving around is such a great feature. And these also have lumbar control, but it is going to be power for both the driver and the passenger. Now this one also gets the panoramic sunroof up above, so especially with the all black interior really opening it up in here, I love that. Especially if you got rear passengers, they're definitely going to like that feature as well. Now this one does get a few selectable drive modes similar to the Murano. You've got your sport, normal, and then off-road. So if you find yourself in maybe a little bit of a pickle in the snow, switching into the off-road mode will help you get that best possible bite and traction. Or if you're planning on running down a gravel road or anything like that, or feeling like getting a little sporty, both models do have paddle shifters behind the wheel. Like I said, this one's got the 8-speed, so you can put it in sport mode, and this one does drive a little bit sportier, I would say, with just a little bit more power, especially going up to the Turbo S and getting even almost 100 more power than the Murano would have. This thing is definitely maybe a little bit more fun to drive. Now this also gets memory seats, the Bose sound system in here. Both are going to have the HomeLink auto dimming rear view mirror, which is really nice, so you can program a gate or garage door opening in there. But what about the back seats? So I think there is a little bit more room, as this does have a little bit larger of a footprint when compared to the Murano. Back seats though, you're still going to be heated back there, USB-C charging as well as vents. So it's pretty similar in the second row, but just a little bit more storage space out of the CX-70 and maybe a little bit more legroom, but headroom is pretty much the same between the Murano and the CX-70. Now, if we're looking at MSRP on this particular one, we're coming in right around $51,000. So about $1,700 less when comparing apples to apples with the Murano. But like I said, you can get the Turbo S. I think that one goes up to about $55,000, which is going to give you even more equipment into this model. But I mean, we've still got the heads-up display, the wireless Apple CarPlay, pano sunroof, heated ventilated seats. There's so much good stuff in here right now. And you're thinking the average new car price in the US is about $50,000. So both these vehicles is being average, yet giving you all the equipment that both offer. I mean, fuel economy and space is a little bit more of a win for this model, where I think some of the interior comforts and technology might be a little bit better out of the Murano. But I think the best thing to do is get out, get behind the wheel, drive both of them back to back. And when you shop with Walser, we actually offer an 8-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. So if you like one and you like the drive, you can be spending plenty of time and years on the road without even thinking about it. So I think there's a lot of great style, technology, equipment, and great pricing on both these vehicles. So I think the best thing to do is get out, take them for a spin, and see what you think. Now that was just a quick look at the Mazda CX-70 and the Nissan Murano. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by any one of our locations. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.